type it all after just saying it. But before I get truly into this here, I just want to quickly show a cool plant that we have. We have some plants that are 20 something years old, but I think you really need to put this in a bigger thing. But so it's only about almost 8 o'clock here, and it feels like it should be 10. So I'm just trying to uh, feel my way through the evening and get to bedtime. Hopefully, I won't get too congested while doing this because I have been a bit under the weather. Sometimes a bunch of talking is maybe not the best thing to do, but and I almost kind of noticed just before I started too that well, it was an interesting kind of sequence of things, whatever. There was somebody with a very interesting channel name and a kind of unique channel itself. Um, it's the other guy that does cooking and photo art, and uh, and I don't think it would make any difference depending on what device, but depending on how long I'm going for, maybe I'll try. Uh, Maybe I'll try in an hour or so about something. But yeah, anyway, and it was a very interesting channel name. The description kind of just confused me a little bit. I mean, I get it, but I don't, and I struggle to live it. So, just a moment. Ah, I just got downstairs though, so I'll just do this for now, and next time I go up, I'll do that. So, I'd really like to wait till there's somebody here, but I also realize that I should put some content in before somebody gets here, just in case, just for people that see it afterwards. Be very quick. I mean, he can be model instantly says networking. I think it's. I mean, a lot of them have though. A few of them have recently, but like that was the quickest one. Um, I'm just, and it would have been great with how I'm feeling slightly under the weather if this had been doable. Let me just see what happens when I click this. No. Okay. That's so weird. Anyway, because it wouldn't have just been me talking then. Although what I might do with this is read the comments quietly, and people can probably tell when one is reading, just to save my voice a little bit. Um, I think I've done one or two other podcasts today, but I think I did one this morning. But tap shake if you're curious, tap shake if you're not. Not going to click on this, but basically, what inspired this one, it's kind of been the theme. Some people will say Sunday's the start of the week. Some people will say it's the latter part of the week. I also want to remember to talk about a movie that I'm trying to decide if it's worth keeping because it didn't play in our thingy, but I might be able to play it, somehow down the road if it's worthwhile to keep it. I only paid like $5 or $10 for it, but which I would hope is actually pretty standard for that kind of thing. But anywho, so I was looking through lives because I've really gotten into doing it and the randomness that you find. Um, and yeah, after I saw that other thing, I then just started scrolling other lives. Not that the other guy wasn't nice, and it was kind of cool that he didn't judge not being a procedure. In fact, he said that he knew somebody who did school clubbing that also wasn't. And I was already thinking of Mr. Harry. But because of his work, and ironically, actually, because I was talking about Austria with someone earlier today, and then I actually saw Arnold's name. Anyway, uh, so I'd really love it if there was somebody here hearing this. But again, must remember, people will see it afterwards too. So I'm gonna keep it rolling for a bit, and then I just don't want to say everything I got to say um, before there's anyone here, because then I'll just be sitting here thinking, what else can I say? Um, what what I will say though is what transpired this is, and now it's not even showing you my watch history, which is really odd. Like it was a moment ago. It literally was a moment ago. That's really, really kind of odd. But maybe on my other device it will. But I don't have that near me at the moment. So, but what transpired this was me doing this was a live I came across, and it was very interesting. We actually kind of, in a way, both did something we don't usually do because she said what hers was, and I know what mine is. I don't want to sound judgy. Okay, I get along with most people when I have interactions with them and stuff, and I do see the inner and outer beauty that a lot of people have, and I do find people interesting in all that. And it would have been really great while saying those things if somebody had been here, because whether they've ever seen my videos or not. And by the way, yeah, just to say it once now because I'm thinking of it. Um, Probably Saturday, maybe. Oh, it is. I mean, you see G in the video sometimes, so you probably recognize. But if it's first time, well, if you're familiar with me, but it might be your first time seeing him because there's not a lot. That I just want you to know that there are two of us that post on this channel. I'm just the main one. But yeah, I really value a variety of people, um, you know. But there is, well, and like here's an example. I don't mind tattoos and piercings. I don't have any either, but and that's not what this is largely about. But I mean, I guess it is because in some ways because I'm not able to put it in the comments. That seems to only be something I can do on the laptop. Otherwise, it's just people that put comments. I can't put anything, but I can respond. Anywho, I've thought about, what are seniors' homes going to be like, in a number of years with all these people that have all these tattoos or piercings. And I don't understand solid black sleeves, for instance. But there are some very well done tattoos. Some I think are of kosher things, some not. But, and I use that word not, for its maybe or meaning of origin. There was somebody there for about 3 or 4 minutes, but anyway. Maybe they're still there and it's just being wonky, or maybe their phone died or something. But anywho, I'm gonna get this part out while there's nobody here. But please remember the stuff I just said moments ago about liking diversity in people, and mostly, none of us are gonna gel with everybody or feel that everybody is, a connection that we're meant to have, but for various reasons, it can be a good way to mostly operate. You never know when you might need somebody who, or might be able to help somebody. You never know when you might be able to help somebody or need somebody who has a certain background but then again, somebody can know a lot about stuff that isn't intrinsically about them. An example is I was just talking with this lady about gender spectrums. I didn't get the sense, I could be wrong, but I didn't get the sense that she was anything other than a woman. I don't know her loved ones. But my goodness, what she said was amazing. And so that's an example. And basically, sorry, I am tired. It is kind of late. Like I say, it feels later than it is. I'm doing this to help pass some of the evening as well. So I just buzzing yes. Just kidding. But and I was just gonna scroll live, but I felt like I should do this one. But yeah, so again, remember, not trying to judge. I just don't really understand city or countryside viewer, huh? Um, I just don't really understand septum piercings. I don't get what statement they're supposed to make. I think they probably would hurt. Some people take them in out. I learned that not that long ago. It's like I can't even imagine getting it in and having it in, let alone doing. Maybe that's why, so that they can make their nose feel a bit more. I don't know, but then again, I'm a bit sensitive to stuff like that, I guess. But like like sensations and stuff. I would think anybody is, but some are definitely less. Um, Anywho, so it was interesting because I tuned in and she was saying something about how it's good to ask questions. And I don't remember exactly what she said, but I kind of asked about that. I said, what was the reason for it? What made you decide to get it or whatever? And their chat wasn't, from what I saw anyway, wasn't exactly busy, but I was putting a few things. And she missed that one. And, maybe she'll see this, maybe she won't. If she does, maybe she's meant to answer, and I'd be curious to see if there's some variety in the answer to that question. But I then said something else that I'd recently uh, recently seen something about and thought I'll ask. And it was, yeah, about and she didn't know the abbreviation at first, but I said, what do you think of NB people? I could tell by the way she was talking that she was likely one to accept. I don't know if I otherwise would have thought so or not, but and she said a lot of really nice things. Not, I mean, one thing that stood out, she said something which a lot of people will say, oh, bullies when they don't accept themselves or don't like themselves or whatever, that's when they're bully. Um, and she said something around that, but I told her she was going deeper than that. Um, um, and I'd asked her if I could, because it's always good to do so. I'd asked her if I could play her uh, content, that section of it, and it was near the latter part. I remember that now because I did go back to it. I was going to do it on the other device, and then I decided to do it on this one, and so I kept it playing while I set it up. And she actually said something also kind of interesting, and I think why she was saying that she does this is so that she can focus more. But I have ADHD. I'm very much about the conversation, and I think she realizes that sometimes that's where it's that brings makes it extra interesting and enjoyable, and that you should try and find that balance. And she called it a beautiful conversation. There was a few other people closer to the top, I think, and there was a few people watching still, but I was the only one really commenting, and she was going up and down, back and forth a little bit, but she yeah, she seemed to understand pretty much what I was saying. I mean, for someone who says, "Oh, about asking questions," I mean, some things we just won't answer here. So the obvious things that are a little too personal. I mean, we're pretty open on here, but so don't bother asking those. But I was surprised that when she was a little bit confused, although I clarified the one thing pretty quickly, that she didn't ask specific questions to clarify. But at least she said that she wasn't, and most of it she did. The thing is, sorry, I'm just feeling a little bit lightheaded because I say I'm under the weather. Talking a bit with G tonight, but I've had some, longest pauses. But I'm noticing it, so I might not roll too long. But So she said that I could play it, whether I show the audio of it as well, or whether I do show more than just the audio, I don't know. And now I'll have to see if it shows it to me again. So that gives me something I could do tomorrow. Probably could go for Tuesday, Friday, and Friday. And then there was something else I said I was thinking about doing tomorrow. Oh, just doing some tidying up around the house. And I might film it so that, I'll say, hey, how dare you distract me as I'm trying to organize? Wait, I already have ADHD and it's bound to happen anyway. So can kind of offer support and have a nice chat at the same time. Um, and the support is a two-way thing. If you need it for anything, then if you tune in tomorrow, see if I can help. Um, It'll probably be well, just hit the subscribe and hit the notification bell and you'll see. But probably in the morning locally. Uh, but yeah, that's probably the best way to tell you. But yeah. Anyway, I'm trying to think of the things that stand out because yeah, basically what happened is when she wrapped up the video, at first it didn't look like it was going to, and I thought I'd just be able to go back, but it wasn't playing then, and then it said that it was wrapped up. And I notice that happens a lot with lives. I don't think it happens with mine, but then sometimes I'll go into the list and it'll say something about processing or uploading or whatever the word is. Um, and it's like I thought that happened in real time, and it's already there because that's how it used to be. But yeah, so and it doesn't take super long. I forget. She said a certain duration, which I don't remember, but I think it was longer than I would have thought. Um, but yeah, she said that I could. So ignore the part of the description that says a certain something because, well, until it shows up again for me, I'm not able to do that. But yeah, I'm just trying to think, is there anything else that I can say that stood out? Well, she said something about how we're all living our own lives. It's our lives to live, and nobody else has lived our lives, have our experiences, experienced our thoughts and feelings. It's actually a thing I'll add to it. So, chapstick if you're curious, chapstick if you're not. So, you know, like it's very interesting because like this other guy I was watching tonight, he's about 50 or 60, maybe at the oldest, early 70s. Sounded also maybe Canadian, I'm not sure. And so quickly made me a mod. Maybe he did that with the other person too, who had cross dressing in their username and channel name, and well, two to be honest, and Mariana, gosh, and he accepted it. In fact, I had asked him, but he was doing other stuff at the time in his video. But I'd asked, did you make her one that quick, or did you actually see her name and you're cool with it? But yeah, I think that's the point. When it wouldn't play hers right now, I also wondered, is there anything else that I'm meant to say about it? I mean, truth be told, because of an event I heard about coming up in our city, and it's not, not, a lot of places probably have events of these themes, or at least one of the themes. Um, and stuff. I've just been thinking about this particular topic. So, truth be told, I actually did do a couple of videos recently. I'm trying to decide if I should actually release them though. And have them. I can if I would, unless I have it open. So, but again, I don't mind being organic and as is. So, nobody needs to. You can be inspired by the things I say, and put that in your own content. But you don't need to put me personally in your content. But I'm really glad that she said that she would have been open to me doing so, because would be open to me doing so, because I'm not getting exactly how she said it, and she went on about it for like 10 or 15 minutes. in a very specific but also a very general way. And I didn't really think she was going to. I guess I didn't really think one way or another. But so, like I say, when it's not currently showing up as being playable and that just yet, I'm thinking, uh, what advice would I give? It's interesting because I mean, some people that go to this event might not be, but they're interested in the other part, and they either didn't read the description very well, or they're like, I'm not going to associate with those people, though, because I don't believe in that. You never know, and if there's other tables that if the first ones I go to, or whatever that certain people I try to network with, if it doesn't work out, I can try other people. But if it, I could try though, and I'm very very curious to see how it unfolds because they get along with most. So, and I think this networking more so happened while sitting down and eating, but they've got a few slots for it that aren't just meal times. It's almost like you hear a discussion, then you can network and talk about it, and that's kind of a cool concept, a cool way of doing it. That's what I'm gathering from what I've read, anyway. I think I also have a brother Peter. Yeah, don't know how. Oh, because it was on the website. Right, right. Anywho, so, but what would I say? What would I say? Let me think about how I want to go about this because this is all winging it on the spot. Most of them are, to be honest, and so that's one thing about this channel is it's often unfiltered, but it's of love and kindness, and trying to spread good and uplift people, and doing music sometimes, and so I mean, I'm not perfect. Uh, I thought I did my part. Anyway, I'm not perfect, but and I have a sense of humor, and sometimes I make on the spot jokes or whatever, like not about anybody necessarily, particularly, but just kind of in general. Um, but yeah, so but yeah, so but yeah, so but yeah, so it's only been 22 minutes. It feels like a bit longer than that, but so that's not a long time to have people tune in. And like I say, algorithms sometimes don't work in the favor, and there's a lot of stuff on here. But I think it was a hashtag. But I remember, I think I didn't put in the word. That was somewhat intentional, somewhat just I didn't. And it's good because I needed to shorten the title a bit. But, so that may not help. But again, remembering that people can see these afterwards too. Like, that'll be the case. It's just, I guess, there's a processing thing. So even though there's nobody here now, um, um, sorry, headed under the weather. Weird phrase, isn't it? But bit of a head cold in a warm hot. I have aphantasia and I'm verbally quite expressive. I do have quiet moments, though I do. So I mean, one, when it's quiet in the room. Two, when I'm not like sleeping or watching something, it is a little bit odd. Or processing something and knowing that about amongst other people in the time, but often it is a little bit odd for me to not speak things out. Also, I'm used to podcasting, same thing. So, but I'm just gonna try and sit with my thoughts for a few moments here. I really don't think the ball's gonna really help me focus at all. More guided meditations, but 8:14. My goodness, so far before bed. Oh, oh. You say go to bed early, but we have kind of a routine here, sort of. And also, if we go to bed early, I'm up too early. I mean, one of us, again, both of us, uh, we to cherish the morning a bit together. Uh, has to be up much earlier. Darker in the morning, but then I don't know. The sun starts to rise pretty quickly. But if it's kind of cloudy, whatever, I might, and then do that other thing I mentioned later in the day. Those two things, but I am sleepy. But by then, I'm usually like last night, I was, tired. I wasn't feeling great, but I wasn't feeling terrible, and I was pretty tired. Uh, I think I've been a pretty busy day, yeah. And wait a minute, today's Sunday. I don't remember what I did Saturday. I guess there's been the day in between. Well, Friday and today. Um, but anyway, uh, so I guess I've slept 2 nights with a cold. I mean, it's not the first time in my life either, but I've just been so ready to by the time I got to bed that yeah, it didn't take long. And then I sleep well enough. Anyway, I'm just sitting here thinking for a moment. As I was mentioning, okay, you left, so I won't. At least it looks like you have. I won't repeat, but I will sit here and think. What would I suggest? As I mentioned, I was watching somebody who had said that I could play some of her video in this one, uh, and she was talking about a certain something. I guess she would be right, or yeah, and but it's not showing up yet. I wasn't able to because she wrapped up. If she'd still been rolling, I could have just skipped ahead. That's but oh well. Um, as much as I want to sit here and not preach, that's I was going to say preach, but that's not the word I mean. As much as I want to sit and say that, be yourself and everything, I also do encourage people to learn about themselves, grow as people. I think that's important too. Um, and I'm curious. Here's a curious question. Again, chapstick if you're curious, chapstick if you're not. But the curious question is, how have you been doing that lately? Um, I don't know if that's an easy question or not because I'm sitting here thinking if I was asked that, well, I think a lot of it you could actually see uh, in my other lives in posting um, or conversations that we've maybe had if we've ever talked. Um, I don't know. Um, for me, I don't think it's as much that I need to. Well, I don't know. Sometimes it feels like it is that I need to figure out, who I am and what my calling is and all that, and things about myself. Like I know a lot about myself. A lot of people call me very aware, uh, and whether they know me very well or not. Like I mean, and I think it's always kind of interesting when they say it because although I don't disagree, is it that unusual? I don't think so. But then I read about that one who was in her early 60s or whatever, and she said that sometimes she doesn't feel like she knows herself still. Stupid practice for one of her or her main job. I'm not sure, but and it's like, what does that mean? Um, she had mentioned a religious upbringing, and I do think that perhaps when we are very, very strictly brought up religious or just are religious, we let it be our what runs and guides our life so much. I wouldn't. I don't think I'd be wrong to say that we kind of forget who we are. We kind of, um, or when we're just going through the motions, getting through the day, and at work and or well, in school you're learning if what you're learning is what, and in jobs too. Sometimes you're learning if what you're doing is what you want to be doing in your life. But like I've, one thing is I don't mind, the labels that I've given myself, that I've accepted within myself. um, so like, um, yeah, you know, because they're who I am, and I'm mostly fine with that. But as far as finding calling goes, I've had lots of things that I thought were, and it's very, very hard for me to let go of thinking that they are. So maybe they are, but sometimes it doesn't feel like it. Um, or maybe they're not what I meant to. Well, I'm not. I don't want to say they aren't. Like I say, but what I meant to do, like for my employment goals, but maybe more so just to do for my soul and for my own nourishment and joy. Um, I feel like Evan's husband or two late partners kind of said that about the thing that she's most doing, because I'm interested in it as well. But then also, yeah, yeah. But they're very much, and a lot of things are, but they're very much, sure, they're very much engaging, interacting things. I don't know. Yeah. But so yeah, what is something that you're learning about yourself a lot lately? That's a great question, I think. Too bad nobody's here to hear it right now, but hopefully after. Hmm. I'm going to say it again, though, because two people just came in at the same time. Uh, this one's been a bit quiet, but I haven't been rolling super long. Question: if you'd like to answer it, you're welcome to. Okay, you both laughed out. At least it looks like you did. If you didn't, tell me so. That was kind of weird. In the meantime, I'm going to think of how to. Oh, we got a like. Cool. Um, Glad to have you here. Um, so again, conversation never forced, but suggested, and hopefully chat is behaving. And the light just undid. Why? Okay, that's back. Okay. Anywho, question that I thought of to ask is third time is what are things that you're learning about yourself at this point in time in your life? Second question to that could be what are things that you've um, decided you don't need to focus on as much in your life right now? Um, with that first part, I went to for myself. I already know a lot about myself. Um, but I think I'm in the latter section where it's kind of like I have a lot of things that I am interested in, but what is meant to bring me the most fulfillment? What is meant to bring me, you know, um, into a uh, employment of some sort? Um, am I on the right path? Or do I need to kind of change what I'm looking at? I don't like everything. Nobody does, but I do like a lot of stuff. But one thing I think for me is at this point in my life, it's going to have to be something that doesn't require a degree, but isn't like just, call center fast food jobs. No offense to anybody working those kind of things. Because I mean, some people later in life they do, but for me, I feel like it's never a guarantee that you're going to get work in that area. It's a huge commitment. And I'm not ignoring comments, by the way, if they're there, but maybe I'm rambling in your. Whoops. Sorry about that. It looks like you both stayed, though, so I appreciate it. I accidentally clicked away from this screen when I was trying to make sure that the comments showed. And then, okay, that light disappeared again, by the way. And then, yeah, it had to reconnect. There was a second part, but I don't remember. Anyway, So yeah, basically, in multiple choice tests, I think I find hard. You know, so and it's one thing if you're just watching like a game show that does that, and it's okay if you're wrong. You're not playing for real money, but when you're playing for a passing grade, um, you kind of you can't say, well, this does make sense because of this, or this sounds familiar. It's like, yes, but what is the right answer? So again, I'm really sorry if you're putting comments, I'm not seeing them. My advice would be is if you can somehow make note of what you want to say, and if I'm not responding to them, you're welcome to put them after the video is posted because I might just not be. I'm just not seeing them. I would read them if I do. Um, I'm just gonna go top up my water, but yeah, basically. So I asked a question, and I think you were there for it. You're welcome to answer it. Were you the one that liked and then accidentally unliked, reliked, and now have unliked for a few minutes now, or was there three at one point and then two left? Anyway, I hope you will end up liking again and joining the conversation. Um, but yeah, so that's a topic itself is trying to figure out. But I am going to something like I say in a few days, and it's something I've always had interest in, but never. Well, I say never really explored, but for the fact that I'm always watching videos, and I've been live streaming a lot. you know, um, not necessarily with a lot of fancy stuff going on, or like a lot of fancy effects, and I'm mostly okay with that being organic, raw, natural, that way. But it might be nice to, and I don't think that you need that other stuff, but it might be nice to spiff things up a little bit or add a little pizzazz, you know. But I'm going to be meeting a bunch of filmmakers, so it might be cool to just wait and see what connections I make and what might come from that. Um, but yeah, like I feel like I've not jumped into that as much as I would like to, the filmmaking stuff. So I'm looking forward to that, and I think that'll be an area, like I say, yeah. So, um, but yeah, so I asked a couple questions. I welcome you to answer them while I'm briefly off of the away from the screen. Um, and I'm also gonna, if you didn't auto scroll and you found this on the news feed, this stuff all relates to each other. I feel like, and then I want to rest for a bit because I am under the weather a little bit, by the way, and just watch lives or whatever. But I'm going to come back and also speak about um, what the title says. Uh, you know, uh, trying to be your most authentic self, and I'm just going to kind of wing it with whatever thoughts I are coming to mind while I'm away. So yeah, uh, topic is being your authentic self, discovering yourself. For the second person that just tuned in, now it says one, and I'm not sure which one of the two it is. So I just got to quickly go refill my water, and we'll carry on from there. Oh. And I spilled a little bit, so it is just water, but I kind of don't want to walk on the wet floor, so I almost want to go to the washroom. I know that there's at least one of you here listening, and hopefully you're still here. You're not. But because I can't add it in the comment, because I'm doing on this device, I'm going to try not to. I'm just going to maybe wrap this up soon. It might not be an hour, but so I'm going to stick with that. You know, um, I'm already my authentic self. Um, I may not be living into it as much as I would like, but the components are there. Um, and what else I feel like I need to discover about myself, or would want to, um, I'm not sure. And I mean, I don't want this coming across like it's all about me either, but I mean, I am the one posting the video. But yeah, I'm not really sure. Interestingly, I just got an idea. Like, things are going to be just fine. I paid, I've registered, the event will be happening. And even if, a couple of the speakers have to back out, they have a lot lined up. The event will be happening. And there will be networking. You can be darn sure of that. And then hopefully I'll make some nice connections that I might be able to not only bring to the YouTube channel, but possibly bring into the videos, work with on the videos on. Um, and I would love to meet some people in both of the communities. And I just got this idea that maybe we could kind of start a project together where we probably not, because otherwise it would be in that place, where we look at this topic. Um, so yeah, suggestions. I mean, now I'm starting to get in big collab mode. Not that I have a lot of ideas, but it's kind of like, oh, easy, man. I just need people to do this with. But no, it will be, it's not like, it's not like the opportunities aren't going to strongly be there. So that feels really good. As uh, far as what else there is to, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like I need suggestions or something. Like I just feel like I mean, my strengths that have been my strengths are still my strengths. And they're getting stronger probably in a lot of cases. The music, the life coaching and support stuff. But I'm just kind of starting up with the self employment. So getting the clients has been a bit slow. Even posting on YouTube, I mean, this one hasn't been very active. People aren't even hearing it, let alone whether they want it or not. The channeling stuff. Um, it'd be really great if somebody tuned in when I was listing these things, because in this one that I won't not because it's bad. It's just it wouldn't be as easy to collaborate virtually, although maybe not impossible. I don't know, but it may take it certain ways. But because they'd be like, oh, actually, that's cool that you just mentioned this because, but yeah, it's interesting because yeah. Anyway, like I said, she said she didn't need to get distracted, so she usually doesn't put the comments on, but she did. Yeah, I said that right. Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, I don't know. I'd need suggestions. But one thing I did want to do in this video, and to be honest, it's something I kind of do often, sort of, kind of, is I um, trying to inspire and uplift and all that stuff. And definitely feeling a little bit more itty at the moment with my cold. But so to wrap this up, maybe try and keep it under an hour. Wish it had been a bit more engaging, but whatever. Maybe this one will surprise me, and it'll be afterwards that they get lots of comments. Most of the time, it's in the chat, to be honest. When there's conversation, it's in the chat. And it's unfortunate in some ways because then the videos look otherwise kind of quiet. Not all of them, but some of them. But again, there's lots on here, algorithms, this and that. But about being one's authentic self. Here's the thing. I think a lot of us probably think that, and we're hoping that there's a part of us that probably hopes that other people are going to be like us. But if you're diverse enough, there's more likelihood about that, right? Um, Everybody doesn't have to be the same. Diversity is lovely, for the most part. Um, but so I guess the question is, what does being yourself mean to you? What does it mean to me? Um, and I probably alluded to it, but I think a big part of it is self acceptance, self love. Um, you know, even the things that may be a little bit harder to, you know, may be a little bit harder, to just, you know, say, okay, if I'm not, and I'm a little under the weather, just so you know, just in case, because you may not have heard me say it earlier. If I'm not um, harming anybody, and I'm just trying to be my authentic self, I'm not causing, any problems. Um, then one should accept themselves, and um, I think that's the biggest one. Um, and then living your truth. That was something that lady had mentioned actually. Uh, um, Living your truth, and what does that mean to you? I mean, it could be very similar to the previous statement. That being said, it's also important, I would say, to remember to be careful, to remember to find your tribes, to remember to find your communities, um, where you can be most comfortable being yourself. Every now and then, the radius of that may expand outwards. But doing that, and please remember to like and subscribe if you are enjoying this. If you're commenting, I'm sorry I'm not seeing them, but you can copy them to paste in afterwards in the comments. And this is organic, winging it, and I want you to respect me and my content, and I'm happy to have you here. Um, as I would do. That's the other thing what was that other thing that lady said? I'm gonna try and play it tomorrow to be more word for word, but and I actually don't know her name. It was just her YouTube name, and I don't know. I know it's posted on YouTube, but some people are fine with the audience they get, and that's good enough for them, whether it's a lot or not. Um, but she said one thing she said that really stood out, and that's what made me think of, when they say bullies are bullying because they don't like themselves. That's kind of what she was saying, but in her own words. She was pretty much saying that, she is accepting of herself, which makes it easier to be accepting of others. It's interesting. Yeah. But you know, uh yeah, that's I think maybe, because I can't play that right now until it shows up again. Uh that's what I would say. But she said I could. That's what I would say. So I said to myself, like, okay, well then, I've got to find the words. I've got to, be the inspirational one. I would have been a bit of both anyway, probably. But can we have some dialogue? I mean, you don't need to be shy. Um, I don't bite on weekends. No, just kidding. I don't bite in general. I'm just gonna look and see if comments are showing up on here. But otherwise, that thing I suggested is going to have to be either way. Because it's been wonky lately. And in fact, I was watching a friend's video tonight, and I had to reload it 3 times before it showed up. And then it worked. And I commented one of his other ones, and he said, yes, it was being wonky. Or like some will show, and then it just stops showing any further ones. I'm not sure why that's happening. Okay, the viewer left. But maybe they're going to reload because I mean they were here for like almost 10 minutes, so they must be enjoying this. I mean, can you blame them? Yeah, like, yeah. Hmm. Right, and this device, until it's posted, and it does all these other ones, it won't let me click in. So that's annoying. Okay, what? Well, sometimes devices are slow, especially computers. Uh, but they also didn't like it unless they accidentally undid it after they did it, because that happened to somebody earlier today. And then they put it back, but then they took it away again. So I don't know. But okay, might be back now to try and put the comment. I've seen the stickers showing up. I see the welcome to live chat thing. So, like I said, third time can be the charm if it doesn't work the second time. Uh, but yeah, I think that's probably my best advice. And then there's like the curious questions. What does it mean to you to be yourself and to be authentic? What are you learning about it for yourself, for others? And I would say, yeah, just as I say, acceptance and self love, acceptance and love for others. I mean, most others within reason. I mean, if somebody's doing something that's really, really bad, you don't have to support that, right? But otherwise, why not, right? We all want it. In fact, I could say it's a human need. And you usually will more often get it too if you're given it. Um, Not the case with like necessarily opportunities in life sometimes, but just in how people treat you. Um, Again, unfortunately, there will be those that just don't make it easy like it should be, or whatever. But most of the time, you know, uh, and the ones that don't, I think they should look at themselves a little bit and say, first of all, are they very well liked? Second of all, um, you know, are they being the person they want to be? I think that was in the title actually too. Um, and it's one thing to, and I'm a little under the weather, so don't mind if I'm a little sniffly or whatever. But it's one thing to, and I hope you will like and subscribe and hit the notification button. And if you're trying to comment again, try reloading it and then try again. I don't know what's going on. Um, um, but, and let me just see here for a moment. Can I get to it this way? Yes. Okay, so I might be able to see. Let me just test this here. Okay, well, that makes me think that's me, but that makes me think that they should show up. Um, so, anywho, yeah, that's. I don't know if I can say. I mean, other than the great ways that she said it, which I'm not remembering entirely, I'm not sure if the. You're welcome to put it in words that you want to put it in, but I'm not really sure I can put it in any different words. Um, and I will say this too. If for some reason you are struggling to give yourself love, because, I mean, nobody's perfect, first of all. I would even say, even me. Uh, but because maybe your upbringing or religion, or which could be part of your upbringing, or just, you know, feeling mixed feelings, and you might say, well, I don't know if I can accept this in myself because I'm not sure if I'm comfortable doing so, for whatever reason. Um, doesn't look like there's anybody still here, but I'll just say most likely you should be. You should be, and you can get there. Um, you can get to that spot. Uh, and then it's deciding what that looks like for you, what you're more comfortable with and what you're less. And just, yeah. Um, it's very interesting. I really would love to hear from other people about this. Otherwise, I'll have to go look up my own ideas about it because I don't know if I should do that before or after the event in a few days. Because, like, I'm thinking about the things that resonate most with me, but I'm struggling to think not because I can't put myself in other people's shoes, but I'm struggling to think what could it mean for someone else. But now I'm getting real curious, so I might have to go look that up. You know, and you're welcome to still answer, but I think I'm going to go do that because I'm tired. The features don't seem to be working properly or something on this one, so I'm wrapping up.